Stormhaven Lore, Part 3. To Dream Beyond Dreams, by the Omen of 100 Prophecies. 'Twas in Menevia, dear green Menevia, there dwelt a young Breton of family and name. He had inherited a patrimony, and thus needed to do nothing, as others were paid to do for him. And so he sat in his mullioned window, and gazed out the diamond panes of the colours of the countryside as they changed with the light. And he dreamed away the day until the colours darkened, and he betook himself to bed, where he slumbered and dreamed in truth. Of what did he dream? He dreamed of his own land, but in colours more intense, more true and more pure than in day. His Menevia of dreams was more real than his Menevia of waking, and he felt more alive when asleep than awake. Each day at his mullions he looked and longed for a way to the dream beyond dreams, a way to live in his reverie Menevia forever and ever. Reverie Menevia, he said, and it was a prayer. Reverie Menevia. Reverie Menevia. 1,000 times he uttered this prayer, and it changed like a dream to Vermenia, and more. It became less and less, until at last, Vermena, he said, and Vermena again. And to him she came in dream form, Vermena herself, and called him supernal dreamer and first night caller, and named him omen of 100 prophecies. And when he awoke, he did yet dream, and spoke as in a dream, and called other dreamers to him, and to reverie Menevia. And soon you shall join him. The night caller has dreamed it. One night you shall dream, and in your dream you will say the name, and she will come. Tower of Adamant, by Hiram Housebuilder, Bard's College, Solitude. There is nothing like the Journey Tower anywhere in Skyrim, save for High Hrothgar itself. Unlike the Great Mountain, which is a thing of nature, the tower is a structure, but not one constructed by men or mer, if the legends speak true, but by the Aedra themselves. It rises stark and sheer from the high centre of Balfira Island in the Illiac Bay, where it has stood since the dawn of time itself. The Adamantine Tower it is called, for the unknown ageless material from which it is built, and to Tower Zero, as the edifice that predates all other buildings on Mundus. The Dureni High Elves have ruled Balfiria since the beginning of the First Era. In common parlance, the tower bears their name, though they can claim only the construction of the more recent keep that clusters around the tower's base. Who is responsible for delving the catacombs beneath the keep is a matter of debate with no definitive consensus. I have not consulted with the elves of Alanor, who has, but the noble Croydon Elden Aquinariat of the Dureni deigned to answer a few questions. According to him, the tower was erected in the Dawn Era, when the gods met to decide the fate of Mundus. At its apex, Oriel, the great god of the Aldmeri, slew the trickster Lorcan, impaled his heart on an arrow, and launched it across the world. The heart merely laughed and lived on. The Aedra then withdrew from the affairs of the Mundus, leaving behind the tower for the Dureni to discover and take for their own. What secrets did they find there? What have they concealed to this day? Whatever the secrets may be, the Dureni didn't reveal them to this humble Nord architect. However, Secrets there must be, for I took sight and angle measurements of the journey tower from 8 points of the compass, according to my calculations, and given the known characteristics of all available materials, building an edifice of its proportions should not be possible. Wayrest, Jewel of the Bay, Cumberland Edition, by Sathir Longleaf the Elder. Wayrest is one of the most glorious cities of Western Tamriel, sparkling in her contemporary beauty, lustrous by her past. She is prized above all cities in High Rock. No other city has contributed so much to the culture of the Bretons. The spirits of her genius children continue to haunt the streets. You can see them in the gabled roofs, grand boulevards, and aromatic marketplaces. The people of Wayrest have an instinctive appreciation of their past, but are not obsessed by it, as the people of Daggerfall seem to be. One feels that one is in a modern city when one visits Wayrest, but there is a magic in the air that could only come from centuries of civilization. It is difficult for historians to declare a certain date for the foundation of Wayrest, where the Beaujolais River feeds the Illiac Bay. A settlement of some variety has existed at least since First Era 800. The traders and fishermen of Wayrest were surrounded by hostile parties. The ore capital Orsinium had grown like a weed to the north, and pirates and raiders crowded the islands to the west. There is no mystery to Wayrest's name. After what most travellers had to endure at the eastern end of the Illiac Bay, the little fishing village on the Beaujolais was a welcome rest. Nowhere in the much-vaunted censures of the Skyrim occupation is Wayrest mentioned. In the annals of Daggerfall, King Jolly's letter to Gaiden Shinjin of First Era 948 continues the following reference. The orcs have been plaguing the Wayresters and impeding traffic to the heart of the land. Wayrest only truly bloomed after the raising of Orsinium in First Era 980. Hard-working traders and merchants were instrumental in forming a trade alliance, thus reducing pirate activity on the bay. A successful mercantile family, the Gardeners, built a walled palace in the town and over time allowed banks and other businesses within the walls. A gardener, Varangal, was proclaimed king when Wayrest was granted the right to call itself a kingdom in First Era 1100. Although Wayrest was ruled by one family, the merchants continued to wield incredible power. Many economists have alleged that Wayrest's eternal wealth, despite her hardships, comes from this rare relationship between merchants and crown. The Gardner dynasty was followed by the Cumberland dynasty, but never has a king of Wayrest been deposed by revolution or assassination. Every king of Wayrest can trace his line back to a merchant prince of Wayrest. The merchants and the king respect one another, and the relationship strengthens both. Wayrest has survived blights, droughts, plagues, piracy, invasions, and war with good humor and practicality. In First Era 2702, the entire population of the city was forced to move into the walled estate of the Gardeners as protection against pirates, raiders, and the Thracian plague. A less resourceful community would have withered, but the Wayresters have just survived to enrich Tamriel generation after generation. I hope you've been enjoying these lore readings, and if you have, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.